What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the You're Still Here podcast. I'm here with you. It's not just me. I'm here with Mr. Papa Georgia. We were supposed to record this before this previous weekend just happened. I texted him, and we had that mutual lazy. I said, hey, you want to just do it on Monday or after the weekend? And he goes, I'm right there with you, brother. It's the opposite of the guy who's going to motivate you to go to the gym. We brought ourselves down. We brought each other down. Like, hey, no gym today, right? Yeah, let's just skip it. Let's do it. And how are you going to get ahead in this world? No. They always come out throughout the week, regardless of whether we tape them during the weekend or after the weekend. But if you wanted the proper juices, I mean, we would have just showed up here and just said, I mean, we're not going to be saying a ton that's riveting tonight, but I do have that Monday energy. You know you're going to either win in fantasy or something. Like either the good or bad weekend just happened. And either you take the energy of a positive weekend into Monday, or you use it as like, oh, diet starts on Monday, podcast starts on Monday, and convince yourself
whole new life starts Monday.
Yeah, and then inevitably by Wednesday, you've eaten something disgusting, and you're right back to your old miserable ways. Hopefully everything is going well for you out there. I know that the weather, we're starting to get there. We're almost there. At night is when you can tell now.
Crisp, clean, got to bring a hoodie out with me.
And that was another thing over the weekend. Saturday, both Friday and Saturday night, it just had that feeling. And yes, I did watch a horror movie. I just had, when I look out the window and I see them leaves blowing on the trees, I need to watch a little something, especially because I didn't go out or anything like that. Another conundrum, anybody who watches sports, anyone who likes sports, likes the NFL. I know that you've thought, if I go out on Saturday night, that's really going to impact my ability to thoroughly enjoy football. Yes, I'll be alive and I'll see what's going on. But if you're hungover, that really takes a chunk out of your football enjoyment level. So most of you, if you're using your noggin out there, you're going out on Friday nights during the fall, because the fall is most definitely a time. I'm going to re-bring this up. I brought this up last year, but the thing about when you have a show that you run yourself and nobody's there to kind of keep you in checkers, I don't think that's necessarily true. I told you guys vehemently that fall is by far the best time to go out throughout the year. That's when you really want to go out and make the most of your year, because everybody after the summer, they're still in that, like, okay, that summer mode, the weather's still good enough to go out, and they carry that right into the year. And in the case of, I can't speak for all major cities and whatnot, but as far as New York goes, I imagine Boston is similar with Cape Cod and other places, Nantucket,
Boston,
where people go during the summer, but then during the fall, when all like the schools are back and the population seems to be, kind of almost like 30% more full than a mere 3 weeks earlier. And it just seems like there's an energy. People are going out, and I think it's the best time to go out, have fun, get drunk, meet people. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's that perfect balance. And I've always thought that fall, that was the ruckus months. That when you can go out and get drunk. Now, you probably could say that about any time.
Anytime, any day, any week. Could be ruckus time.
Okay, but if all of it's fun, but there's tiers of fun.
Yeah. I don't want a sweaty mustache while I'm standing there trying to talk to someone, The
exactly.
fall, it's a little better for that.
In a matter of time, it will evaporate. We'll be in November, and then you're at the holidays. And I know we mentioned this quickly about that guy who was talking about 8 seasons in a year, but really you have to maximize every weekend between September and Thanksgiving Eve, because once you enter Thanksgiving, that's when the theoretical cuffing season. I think everyone hates each other now. People don't even have girlfriends, but everyone just hates each other. But that's when theoretical cuffing season, in my opinion, ends. So if you're a scraper and you like to wrap someone up for the winter, you got this weekend and like 6 to 10 more like it. And don't act like that time's not going to, the fun weekends evaporate.
This is the time to get somebody? I think after Christmas is the time.
Well, I think that's when people aren't
now I
going
gotta get
out.
this girl or guy, whatever, a gift. I've known you for 2 months. Leave me alone.
All right, so that's true with the gifts and whatnot. But if you're somebody waiting for, let's say, December, January, what's the likelihood? What's the likelihood if you do it the old school way and go out that people are actually going to be out, that the bars are not going to be as crowded? Because you've been there where we're like, yo, you want to go outside? You look out the window. You know how easy it is to convince yourself
Count
not
how
to
many
do
layers
something?
I got to put on. I'm not going out.
Exactly. So now that you're getting a worse crowd, a thinned out crowd, and then also, even if it's like an online dating situation, you've been messaging back and forth with someone, if it's a miserable night and cold, I don't think they're as likely to go out with you. So I believe that you got to lock them up before Thanksgiving. That's just a personal opinion of mine. But regardless, with the weather, the way it is, and then you got all sports, if you're a college football person, I mean, I don't know. I think it's mostly Saturday, but they trickle a couple games Friday, Saturday. This is the best time of the year to go out. Although we're still getting a couple of muggy, humid days. In typical me fashion, I thought I was off the hook. I talked about how, you know what? I think me and the mosquitoes finally have a truce. Like they have not hit me up more, and I haven't had to use all of my tactics. I haven't had to. By the way, those people who say just put candles like on the edge of your fence, and that's not keeping anything out.
I need to drip that stuff all over me.
Seriously, like those. Oh yeah, just if you're having people in the backyard, just put candles around the edges. That will keep the mosquitoes out. Yeah. Okay, that's like putting buoys or something. Say, yeah, that will scare the sharks off from coming. Sporadic candles every now and then ain't going to do a damn thing. I went into somebody's backyard for a barbecue one time. They actually had one of those little, I don't even know what you call them. The net, like it's almost
bug
like
net,
but you can hang out in there. It's almost like a
gazebo.
gazebo with the netting on the outside. So there was no bugs. I went in there, got bit. So all these methods that people use, I don't even trust to begin with, but I had a lack of bites this summer, and I just thought, you know what, maybe my blood finally is a little too actually, maybe that's my sign to diet if the mosquitoes weren't biting me as much. But I've gotten more bites from September onward than the whole summer combined, and that's what I get.
Horrible.
That's what I get. But this is their last chance. This is last lick.
This is it.
This is they gotta
get all the blood I can.
They gotta do. They know this is the last chance they got, and I don't know where do they go to hibernate? Do they just die?
Your garage, your basement, anywhere dark, creepy. They're in there. I'm telling you. Every spring I see them coming out bigger and bigger. They're not dying, some of these ones.
It wouldn't be surprised, like they say that many of the sprays that they put out to like get rid of mosquitoes when there's an issue, so, like the old sprays just don't work anymore. So they morph. They know how to survive these damn mosquitoes. When we're all gone, I can assure you the mosquitoes and rats will still be here. There's nothing worse than like a desperate miss, somebody who knows they're about to lose everything. That's a scary person to deal with. And that's where the mosquitoes are at right now. It's like their last supper before having to diet. They're out there. They'll eat anything. It's like going out that last weekend before Thanksgiving Eve. A lot of creatures being taken home at 2 a.m. I don't know. Have you seen that meme
Jesus.
with from the Goonies with oh my God, what's the guy's name with Chunk? Hey, you guys. It's Sloth. There you go. There's the meme of Chunk saying to him,
"You're gonna live with me now.
You're coming home with me." And then the text says like you at 3 a.m.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she's like, and he goes, "Yeah."
I'm gonna take care of you."
It's so good. If I can, I'll include
I
it.
Oh,
love
you
you.
got it.
It's
That is
really
awesome.
love you, Joe. Oh, I love you.
It's so fun. But I also think these mosquitoes are around because I'm not going to re-explain my theory. It ain't global warming. It's global shifting. I think summer lasts kind of deeper into September, if not all the way to October 1st. And I think the winter goes straight through spring training opening day. There's a blizzard at Fenway Park on opening day. So that's what it is. That's my rebranding of it. But, these people, I still call it global warming. The new thing is, I don't think global warming was cutting the mustard. It wasn't getting the results.
It's
like
still everybody's thinking of Al Gore talking about global warming.
They checked like their YouTube insights, and it's like, this ain't moving the needle for us. So they go, all right, let's bump it up. Let's bump it up. Let's give it the climate crisis, a little alliteration. You always remember.
You put crisis in anything.
The climate crisis. New name. It's like when you're 0-3 in fantasy, so you change your team name. It ain't going to change the results. So you can change it to whatever name you want. I get it.
You take any word and add crisis. It's, imagine I even said you bacon crisis. You'd be like, whoa, what's happening with bacon?
There are no pigs anymore.
You freak out. You don't know. It's a good idea.
Well, I'm enduring the mosquito crisis that lasts deep into September. I have multiple crises. There's crisis after crisis after crisis, depending on how I kind of frame the narrative. Those delivery drivers, they don't like being called that. What are they? They're craft service expediters. Everybody's just a big liar. You ever see people's resume? Random fact, lie on your resume to the fullest. There is not a go check your resume company. I say this all the time. I've been in a meeting or two where I got to look behind the curtain and see what happens before and after somebody interviews at a real company. And guess what? They don't check up on anything. You could put I graduated 8th in my Yale class, and they go, what do you think? They call Yale and they go, hey, we just interviewed so-and-so. We want to confirm. That just doesn't happen. There's not a Yale confirmation line that these people are calling. And if there is, just do the math. What's the time it takes if you're interviewing 85 people to go validate the school credentials and GPA credentials and previous employers? What if I just put somebody, I have many of friends at previous job. What if I just put that they were my supervisor? How do they know the hierarchical structure within the company? My advice, and I read this about Shia LaBeouf when he was a little boy. They asked him, I believe, if he had done any acting, and apparently, and I could be fully butchering this story. I read it in 2009 once, I'm going off that memory.
Long time ago.
He just completely lied about having acting experience or stand-up comedy experience or something like that, and they gave him a job based on those lies. I'm a believer, as long as you're not hurting people, like legitimately hurting people, for something like that, lie through your teeth. I was actually just reading an article. No, I'm not reading an article. I was just rewatching some of The Sopranos, and then how the world...
A little different than an article.
No. Well, you know how things work. You watch something, things get suggested to you. I saw a suggested article, but it ended up not being true, about a Sopranos spinoff where one of the characters actually faked his death to get out of the mob and move to Florida. Didn't end up being real. And I ended up watching an interview with the guy, and he said...
And I said, Lord, what are you doing here? He said, I'm here for you. I'm here to offer you a role to audition for The Sopranos. And he said, have you been acting? And I lied and said, yeah, sure, I've been acting a lot. What am I going to say, no?
I believe he was doing some stand-up comedy, actually. And they said, well, have you been acting recently? Do you have experience? And he just went, yeah, absolutely. I've been doing a ton of it. He hadn't been doing any. And guess what? That got him the audition, and he got the role. Nobody was harmed in that process. So just be selective with your lies. Am I sitting here saying to lie? Yes. But don't really screw and harm people.
For career and life advancement.
Yeah, because the way I look at that shit is, okay, you list your jobs online. You don't put your salaries. You don't put the exact. There's so many things that you strategically bend, curve, and curtail. We're just kind of doing the same. So I would advise lie, unless you are a potential future employer of mine, stumble across this video, and then obviously this is just a show. We're trying to entertain. I didn't prepare anything for this episode, so I just got to make up things like, you think I would lie on my resume? I don't even have a resume. I told you that I would die, and by you, I just mean my inside self. I would die without a LinkedIn, and I'm still going strong, and I think I've passed the point of no return. I think I've made it. I have no LinkedIn, and I will die without it.
I don't know. You just took a picture for our friend.
Yeah, well, he's got
for
a LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
He's got a LinkedIn.
You're not too late. Got plenty of time to get
No, but I don't want to.
LinkedIn. I want to see your yearbook LinkedIn photograph you're going to take.
I made a promise when I started and went into performing. I go, even if this doesn't work, you're not going to be the chalky 9-to-5 guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. You guys, if you've been watching, you just know how I am by now. I can't sit in a cube. I need to say something. I need to see something. And I just am not built for that. There are certain people.
No way.
You know, I want to be honest with you. I really kind of learned something about myself yesterday with those damn prices. I never thought about memorizing any of those things. And I knew almost every single one.
It's because you're interested in them.
I know. But it put in my head when I'm really into something, I actually have some brain power. I shouldn't be able to do that. That's borderline weird to remember that many. Anyway, I don't want to, I just, there were a bunch of numbers next to names. I happen to remember them, mostly all of them. And I would have never thought I would have said $800. I can't do that. Even though I didn't get some on the head. The fact that I was right there. Anyway, whatever. You had to be there. The hell was I just talking about? Oh yeah, the climate crisis, rebranding.
The crisis. Dunkin' rebranded. Used to be Dunkin' Donuts. Now we're just Dunkin'.
You know what? X.
There you go.
I guess I'll put a little asterisk there. If I bought a company,
yeah, you just want to change the name. I guess
I would like my stamp on it as well. Unless it would tank it, and then I'd be able to, because right now they're in that lingering phase. And I have to admit, I know everyone, including us, probably, we assume the lingering phase will last forever, but I don't think I've called Dunkin' Donuts in a long time. And if you would have told me they were going to do that name change, I would have said, nah, I'm calling it Dunkin' Donuts. But we call it Dunkin' now.
Well, it's because we're lazy. We're going to say Dunkin' Donuts. You're going to Dunkin' Donuts? No, I'm going to Dunkin'.
Well, then how does that work for, I guess you're right. We still do call IHOP, and now I believe they changed to International House of Pancakes. No. There is something, I'm not 100% certain. I just brought this up before we started recording. Look. I think IHOP, there was something, unless everything I see out there is fake. Within the last year, I saw something about IHOP because in classic fashion, I saw the blowback, I'm never going to. Isn't that so funny about people, by the way?
Oh, so this is what it's saying is IHOP was going to change their name to IHOB, IHOB, International House of Burgers.
I mean, that can't be true.
And they changed it right back.
I mean, who goes to IHOP for burgers?
2018 they did this, yeah. They flipped the P into a B.
IHOP changes its name to IHOP.
Stick to pancakes, IHOP.
Are you kidding? That can't be true. Who's going to IHOP for burgers?
International House of Burgers. Well, they wanted to let you know they're not just pancakes.
That just reminded me, man. One time when I moved to LA, I met this girl on set one time, and at this time I lived in a place or close to a place called Manhattan Beach, California. And it's a really nice place. Like you've probably seen it in some movies. I lived right next to it, but spitting distance to this really nice shopping area, a pier, a lot of cool stuff. I got her to come to where I live and hang out one night. And it's a weird thing with so much driving in LA, if somebody actually comes to your area, there's so many different areas that if they actually come, like that's awesome. So she drives close to where I live, and we have those things at our disposal that so many people would like to do. It's actually, you could take pictures and all that shit and it would look good. She arrives and I'm like, do you want to go by the pier, Manhattan Beach? You know what she says? She goes, I'd kind of rather just go to Dennys.
Now we're talking.
Fucking
now
Dennys?
We're talking. She's a Midwest.
I've never been to a Dennys
Midwest,
my whole life. And we're not
Westerner,
upper class people. Even if she said McDonald's or something. I mean, isn't like Denny's below? I went there. They're like, yeah, it's the number 8 meal. You get 8 items for $8. I'm like, oh my God. Like, why would this girl want to go here with me?
Denny's popular outside New York, man. Big time.
She just didn't care about making the Dennys impression. I mean, what the hell?
She wanted a burger, but you didn't have an IHOP.
Yeah, I don't know why that just popped into my head.
Dennys.
Because
that's a great meal to go for. What you get? Pancakes?
Dude, this is a long time ago.
Come on. I'd probably forget everything about her besides what she ordered. That's where my brain goes. I'd be like, she got the pancakes. It was incredible.
We have some overweight friends, and I'm doing something that you should, like, I'm saying that, like, now that makes this, what I'm about to say, okay. Let's just say she wears the same size as some of our friends now.
Oh, yeah.
She's
okay.
Big.
She kept going to Dennys. Those stacks kept getting bigger and bigger.
She's big. And I'm talking about, she was a stand-in for a Disney Channel actress. That's how small she was. And now I'm talking about, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw a picture of her. I'm like, that's the level we're talking. So just be careful with the Dennys. You can rebrand it all you want.
Don't go too far with the Dennys.
But my goodness, she probably should have taken a walk on the Manhattan Beach Pier with me. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You know?
Take her to Dennys. Plump her up.
Jesus Christ.
Send her on her way.
I mean, now that's an actual crisis. Okay. She needs to put that next to the Dennys crisis. You know, as we're getting towards the end of the year, I was talking to you about the weather, and, you know, mosquitoes are eventually on their way out. You better lock somebody up before Thanksgiving Eve rolls along. For me, especially because of work and everything, I'm one of those guys where I'm a procrastinator, not just with this podcast. We should have taped it a couple days ago, but with my doctor's appointment. They say this about all guys. I forget what percentage of guys' deaths are caused simply because they ignored their significant other's advice to just see the doctor.
Yes.
Not even do anything great, like just to see the doctor. And we have many friends like this. Like that whole, if I don't know what I have, then I don't have it type of mentality.
We all generally wait until we're like, I think I might be dying. And then go.
This is the mindset that people use. This is how most Americans are, even going back to that climate crisis. Did you see this COVID crisis? What happens when it's a real thing and people start dying? Everybody just says, all right, make this, fix this, do this. I'm convinced that until people are actually warming, like they are getting sunburns in their backyard, that they're actually that looks like, oh, how am I not thinking of all these movie references of somebody just like putting their arm out and actually burning? Well, just think of John Carpenter's Vampires. Yeah, just sticking that arm out into the sun. Or Deacon Frost, who somehow, I still don't know how he was sitting in the sun with Blade that day. But imagine that. Once we start living like vampires actually burning up, you're going to see all the resources go to it, and we'll take care of this climate crisis in one day. And my goodness, if some people are hearing that right now, I don't know what they're going to do because they're cementing themselves to racetracks. Did you see some of those?
Yeah, that's a good one.
What are you guys doing? That's
gluing
not
themselves to tennis courts.
What the hell is that going to do? All the people who do that.
Yeah.
How many people went, oh my God, I was watching you give me some tennis
the
players.
U.S. Open, yeah. Djokovic and
I was watching Djokovic play Murray, and then that person cemented themselves to the floor, and I said, you know what?
That's it.
I can't watch tennis anymore.
I'm only going to ride a bicycle to and from.
That's it. I'm not even going to watch sports anymore. I'm selling my car, and I'm taking the money, and I'm donating it to carbon-reducing companies and all that stuff. I just don't get the end game of these people throwing paint at paintings I've never even heard of to begin with. You think I care? What the? I laugh if I see stuff in an old French museum destroyed. I mean, I wouldn't advise doing that, but I didn't know what the stuff is to begin with. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. How did I veer off from end of the year to this? People's reactions, yes, doctors, we don't go. Well, I kind of am like that, but on a smaller scale. either I go right towards the end of the year or I don't go at all. And we're approaching that time where I have to go to the doctor and whatnot. And we all have our reasons. My personal reason is because, things, deductibles, I've spent X amount of money. So if I were to wait till early next year, it's going to cost more money, all this nonsense. I mean, that's a whole nother scam of the century when we're talking about the prices for healthcare and all that stuff and deductibles and just robbery. However, you told me it's the best incentive. My incentive is like deductibles and stuff like that, and I got to go close to the end of the year when I'm over the deductible and all of that. You take care of your teeth. I'm not great with my teeth.
I never used to, but the last few years I've gotten great at it.
Papa Giorgio has been taking good care of his teeth, not for the health. I mean, it's great. It's a great peripheral, but hey, whatever does it is he's taking great care of his teeth, and whatever the reason is, however you prepare yourself for the fight, if you win the fight, you won it. However, it is funny what his motivation is. It ain't just his overall dental hygiene.
Oh, I want to have good-looking teeth.
He went to the dentist, and it's a girl we went to high school with, and he doesn't want the girl from high school to know he has disgusting teeth. So in fear that it's going to be spread around, do you know?
Yeah, somebody you knew, yeah. Oh, I saw this guy the other day. You should have seen the shit in his teeth. It was like you ate a Snickers bar and let it sit there for a year.
Because the way our minds work, we're convinced everyone talks about us, every little thing we do. People are microanalyzing because that's just how our crazy brain works. It's like why we see a little thing in the mirror. Oh, I have a little thing on my ear. Everybody's going to see it. Nobody sees it.
Nobody.
Actually, you might see it.
I will see it. Nobody else will.
Exactly. And it's the same type of thing. You think there's going to be a circle talking about your poor dental hygiene. So in fear that might happen, you're going nuts. You're brushing 8 times a day.
Flossing, everything.
Forget about when you
never
see that
flossed
appointment
ever.
coming
Forget
up.
it. Oh, yeah. I got to make one right now.
You're brushing nonstop.
Oh,
Just like those people, unfortunately, by those people, I mean me, we think like a 20-minute brush right before the dentist is going to nullify 7 years of poor hygiene.
Yeah, no way. I got to go. I got to get some stuff, man. Got to be prepared for it.
The dentist to me is even harder than the doctor because the doctor, it comes in increments. Like, hey, man, we're going to send that blood to the lab and then you can get out of there.
No, I don't like it.
But the dentist is like, oh, you see that root up there? So we're going to come back. Then you get a cap. And then after that, we're going to bring some of this. It's a 10-leg process. So you're scared to find out about the first part of it.
That's why you need a dentist who knows you and maybe will keep on top of you.
And if you are wondering who the hell cares about a damn dentist that you know growing up, you can guess. Yes, she happens to be somewhat attractive. And I know that feeling. I can sympathize with that feeling.
We haven't been in high school in 20 years. Okay.
Very impressive that she's still attractive. But I do know a conundrum, a similar conundrum. And I would ask you, if you're a guy out there and you went to the doctor and you have an attractive female doctor asking questions.
You're getting that physical.
And they ask you, well, would you like to be tested for STDs? Would you rather tell the truth and say, no, that's not necessary because
look at me, nobody's. I'm clean.
Or would you rather lie and say, yeah, I think I definitely need to get tested? Basically, would you rather lie and do the tests? Would you rather have the doctor who's cute think you're dirty opposed to a loser who hasn't had sex in years? And the answer, obviously, is you'd rather have them think you're filthy.
Yeah.
I fully understand that reasoning. I can't have this high. Now that we're a little older and we know a few doctors, we know they're just still people.
They're normal people, yeah. They don't care if you had sex or not.
I know.
You think she's running the same thing as the dentist?
I know.
You
I
think
know.
she's got, this guy, should have seen him. Didn't want to get tested for STDs. Hasn't been late in a year.
Oh my God.
You know?
This is the kind of thing, man, it needs to be on TV. Like the actual situation where you see it go through the guy's head.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Just last night. Kidding me?
oh no, you should definitely you should give me the extensive tests. HIV test? No, we never do that one. No, but all those other ones, yeah, I absolutely need to be tested. And you can email me the results. I don't need you to actually check them out. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you're a teenager.
Oh God.
If you're a teenager and the lady and the doctor's hot, oh, you're telling them roll out the test.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lost my virginity years ago, lady.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was my third one this year.
Yeah, going for a physical for 10th grade basketball.
Well, who knows? Who knows? Maybe those teenagers, they'll be in my predicament, and they probably have to hit their deductible as well. But now they can hit their deductible because I saw in my own email. I don't know why they're telling me this. I haven't been one in a long time, but they're saying that good news, Venmo is available for teens. How the hell is that good news? And how is that a thing that is going to result in anything but disaster? What? Because now their mom can Venmo them? No, their mom could have given them money easily. Their friends had ways to give them money. And if it's about friends, why are 13-year-olds sending other 13 and 14-year-olds money? The only thing I see when I see, teens have Venmo is unmitigated disaster. You think maybe, you ever see people's profile, just the telltale sign of an absolute shameless, I don't want to say piece of trash, but somebody who acts in a fashion that I wouldn't, when they just put their link, the link, is it youtube.com/Andy Francess? By the way, that's where you can find my YouTube. Oh, how do you like that?
Subscribe.
But on their link, you would see Venmo / I want money for just listing my Venmo here. People who are just putting their Venmo in their bio. Now you're making that available to teens. So now I'm a 14-year-old girl, put my Venmo in my bio. Who do you think's rolling up to the party? You think these are great people? You already know what's in their DM because of this show. There's feet picture requests from Lord knows who.
Oh, yeah.
People living.
It's like the movie credits. Creep number 1, creep number 2, feet creep number 1, feet creep number 2.
It's the movie credits. That is true. That is exact. That
Creepy
is
internet
what
weirdo.
The Instagram DM, if people check that other folder, that's who's living there. The end of the movie credits, those names, yeah. You know, it's not Joe Pescatori. It's nameless foot creep aged 46. Maybe even worse, 75-year-olds who get off on
They can't use those phones.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They're
That's
not
true.
using Venmo.
I can't even.
They don't even know what that
explain
is.
to my mom. Do you know? I was living multiple states. I was living 1,000 miles away from my mother. And when she wanted to watch something, she texted me, "Can you DVR so-and-so?" I would go into the cable box at my mom's house and record something for her. All she had to do was, like, this isn't some future, this isn't YouTube TV where you got to look. This was just a cable box. Go to the right until you see the thing you want, hit record, and that would have done it. But nope, she couldn't do it. So you're right. The older creeps probably are not on there, but you know,
There's
the
enough
middle-aged
creeps.
ones, they're in there.
There's enough.
Yeah,
There's enough
they're
goddamn creeps.
definitely enough. And you know, I guess hoorah, Venmo is available for teens. Yay. That worked out really well for giving teens credit cards. That worked out well for them. Some of them still can't buy a home because of that in their college debt, but I'm sure the Venmo will be great. Every single creep who didn't have a way in with people younger than 18 are happy that you did so. So congrats, Venmo.
Congrats.
Thank you very much for doing God's work out there. One last thing that I wanted to tell you about before we call it quits here in the middle of September on this episode. something I like to call the scam of the week.
It's a scam.
That's a scam.
What a scam that was.
So this was all a scam, huh?
And this is this theory that has emerged from
Nowhere.
TikTok of all places. And of all the things to come from TikTok, I expect what we talked about in the past. I expect the NPCs. Mindless idiots.
Sheer stupidity.
But the next thing that has come out, a theory, an absurd theory that your average guy thinks about ancient Rome like once a week, with a significant percentage saying, I think about it once per day. And that supposedly is what's making its way around the internet. Now, I was happy to get some validation because I'm thinking this is absolute nonsense.
It is such stupid bullshit. So made up. I don't even know what the point of making this up is.
I mean, there's so many things that we could say. Number one, you've asked people, not a single person.
I thought this was the dumbest thing on the planet.
Especially specifying ancient Rome.
Yes.
Because if you want to embody...
My cousin was just in Greece. If I brought up, I was just thinking about, because you were just there. You haven't thought about it ever.
I mean, if you want to encompass everything under the umbrella of, like, if Game of Thrones counts just because it's a depiction where, people are fighting in the pits and that kind of resembles the Colosseum or movie and but specifically ancient Rome, I love Gladiator. I truly do. I'm like Ralph Ziffaretto in The Sopranos, where he just takes it too far and he's whipping people with chains in the strip club and whatnot. I really love that movie. I mean, you're
one of the best. One of the best.
It's one of your best movies.
One of my best, yes.
But I don't think about that movie, let alone ancient Rome as a whole. This is a fucking scam, and here's how I know how. Your average person, even smart Gen Z people now, I think they fully removed geography as something that has to be known. Maybe because maybe schools are going on a course where it's like, look, kids are always going to have, or human beings are always going to have devices on them from here till the end of time. We don't need to be specific with the grammar. We don't need to be specific about geography. They'll have their phone available on.
That's great.
Which is preposterous, but kids don't know where. They can't tell you the majority of countries in Europe. If you show them a blank European map, they know absolutely nothing. And this is something I guarantee you. If you know anybody under the age of 30, they hardly will know any countries. Have them play the country game. Oh, yeah, it exists. You can just Google.
I think even the state capital game.
1,000%. I'll never forget when I moved to California, I just heard some girl talking to her friends by the pool in a hotel. And she was talking about, well, I just remember, she's like, well, it's basically California, Vegas, and then like New York. That was her depiction of the country. It's like California, Vegas, because you go to there, well, and then New York because she knows about people. Everything else is just, they can.
She knows Hollywood, she knows Vegas, and she knows New York.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to know.
That's the country.
That's it. I would say she probably grew up in Cali, that one.
Oh, 1,000%. But going to what you're saying about people not knowing, I'll guarantee you they don't know the capitals. I guarantee you show them Texas and you even just say point to it, Dallas.
I saw a guy on Instagram. That's what he does. His videos are simplest questions ever. What are the two countries that border the United States? And then you stand there and you watch somebody.
I love those too. Now, granted,
no clue.
I just want to know, they should just provide a footnote at the bottom for people such as myself who knows how those things are made. Out of 100, we were able to find these three. Just let me, because if that's 3 out of 10, opposed to like 3 out of 100, I'd say we're in big trouble, but that's not news to anybody. We've been in trouble. All the signs have been there. My advice is don't ever, like if you do have those doctor's appointments, you're in rehab, you're doing anything out there, make sure whoever you're working with was born 19. I'm going to say my ceiling is 90, but I really, if I'm being honest with you, want to say like 88, 1990 and earlier, you can trust the credentials of those professionals. Anybody,
Unless they listen to this podcast, they lied about everything.
yeah.
Nothing is real. Don't believe them.
Well, that's to help out the these kids who don't know anything in the first place, and if they were to get to just lie.
Just lie, use a Johnny 5,
Yeah, yes, exactly. And on that note, we do got to go because we've been waiting for football season for so long. And as long as we love being here with you guys, we love it. Just a hair less than we love a doubleheader on a Monday night, which we're about to enjoy in a few minutes. Thank you guys for coming back. It's always an absolute pleasure. I have sports videos on the Odd Shopper channel. Don't be surprised if you start seeing some sports videos on here. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel.
Tell your friends.
You're subscribed on all audio platforms. Or else I may have to rebrand this whole thing. And I may have to call it some sort of crisis.
The You're Still Here crisis.
Yeah, or the You're Not Here crisis.
That's good.
We need more of you guys here. So do me a favor, let your friends know about it. We will be back with you next week. And hopefully we have, a couple more things to, couple more topics to wet your beak with, like those Mexican aliens, which we'll talk about next time. I'll tease the Mexican aliens. I'm doing some research and seeing the authentic. They scam. Not trusting these Mexican courts. We'll talk about that last time. Take it easy, and we'll see you then.